Hello curl friends, welcome to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jody and it's great to have you join me today. I have been looking forward to doing this review for quite some time. Rizos Curls has been bringing out some newer products, and actually at the time that I'm filming this, I just noticed 2 other new products, but we'll get more into that in maybe this video. I'll talk about it, or maybe we'll touch into it in my new products. What's new in the curly world is what I want to say. The products I'm bringing you today though have been released for a little while, but they're new to me and they're still relatively newer on the market, I would say. I'm going to start out with the Heat Protection Vitamin Leave-In as my base, and then I thought with it being summertime, more the warmer weather, it would be perfect to test out the Rizos Curls Strong Hold Gel. I will say though, unfortunately, I have a lot of computer work to do today. So normally I wouldn't necessarily be outside that much, but we're going to make it work. I'm going to sit outside on my computer and just do some work that way. So like I said, we're going to make it work. We're going to put it to the test with some humidity, some heat, I should say. We don't have a ton of humidity yet, but we are supposed to get a little bit more heat today. But before we get to putting any product on, let's first take a look at what this Heat Protectant Vitamin Leave-In is supposed to do for your hair. We'll look at the specs of it. This is the Heat Protection Multivitamin Leave-In. The 6.8 retails for $20 and the 2.5 ounce retails for $11. It says to experience the nourishing benefits of 13 plus vitamins, amino acids, clinically proven to reduce frizz and hair breakage while giving you smoother, softer hair. This all-in-one Heat Protection Multivitamin Leave-In provides deep hydration, frizz control, heat protection up to 450, plus a daily dose of nutrients for stronger, healthier hair. This lightweight formula is perfect for the daily leave-in to repair and protect all hair types. The directions say to use as a prep step before styling and apply throughout wet hair, focusing on areas that need moisture. Do not rinse out and follow with your regular styling routine. Now I will say, when I got this packaging, I was a little surprised by this application or this pump-like thing. I had just initially thought or assumed that this was going to be a spray leave-in, but that's not the case at all. So this is a true like pump, like milky lotion type of a leave-in. But it does kind of build up on your hands as you emulsify it, as you work it in. It almost, I don't want to say it has like a gel-like consistency, but it definitely gets thicker feeling. So I just went in with 3 pumps. I have used this product before. I have paired it with this gel before. And so I've never paired it with the custard that it was originally released with. But like I said, I have paired it with this gel that we are going to be using, the Strong Hold Gel. And so I kind of have an idea of what it's going to get. I wrote down my notes because it has been a while since I used it. The weather conditions were different at that time too. Now, like I said, I went in with 3 pumps because before I have done 4 pumps the previous time that I made notes on this, but I think I want to go in with another pump. So that would make it 4 again this time. I don't even think I went down with the full pump. I just wanted to target my ends a little bit more because I don't think I got much down there. And as I've said before, this area is actually my driest area. My top, not crown area, but my top face framing pieces are my driest area, so they can take a little bit more. And what we are going to do is we are going to brush style this leave-in in. I about said gel. No, it's a leave-in. So I'm first taking my Tangle Teezer just to disperse the product. And this does, like, my hair was already detangled, but this is a very smooth leave-in. I feel like you could probably detangle a little bit with it. I don't know, like, it has the absolute world's most slip, but I don't see it being a problem for detangling necessarily, if that makes sense. All right. I'm going to section up my hair off camera, and just then I'll come back as I'm brush styling and just give you a little thought synopsis of what's going on, how it feels like, and everything like that. And then we'll probably fast forward through the rest of that. All right, so I've actually already brush styled the back section, and now I'm starting to work on the sides. And once again, kind of reiterating what I said, this has great slip. There's no drag to the brush going through. It's able to just clump my curls pretty well. And so it's hard to tell with my type of hair. I've said this plenty of times. It's hard to tell with my type of hair when it's wet like this, what it's going to turn out in the dried state. Plus, we still have to add one more product. We're not only using this leave-in conditioner. We have a gel obviously going in, but it's hard to tell how my hair is going to look in the end. I do want to show you what one section looks like once it is scrunched and everything. So like I said, I will continue to work through brush styling this, and we'll give it a good scrunch and just see, you know, how the curl clumps are forming, and you know what our assessment is then at that point. Like I said, I've tried these products several times, different ways. This leave-in that we applied, as well as the harder hold gel, and I've also played around with the curl custard some. So I played around with these products, but now it's been a little bit since I've tested them. I want to say it's been a month since I've tested them, hence why I took notes, because I was sure I wasn't going to remember it all on my own. And so I just want to wet these face framing pieces down a little bit more. I always feel like they need a little bit more help, but I'm thankful I wrote it down so I could just look back and review. Now I'm just kind of breaking up a little bit of the curl clumps with my fingers, and then we're just going to scrunch here. Just taking my time with the scrunching. Once I have it up in that position, you know, I'm kind of pulsing my fingers a little bit, trying to encourage that curl. And this is what we have so far. So far not bad, but like I said, hard to tell. All right, I'm going to do the rest of my hair, and then I will show you once it's all done and we get ready to apply the gel. All right, just finishing up with these top areas here. Sometimes these areas can be a little bit more tangly, a little bit more prone to tangles, I should say. But that wasn't the case at all. So I just wanted to kind of let you know about that. Sometimes I think I'm in the clear, you know, no tangles or anything. And then when I'm brush styling this top section, I'm like, oh, wait, when did that get there? But that was not the case this time whatsoever. So we're just going to work on continuing to scrunch. Now, my hair does not feel all that wet. And I will say that I have been applying water as I've been going, but I feel like with this gel, I do want to apply a little bit more water. All right, I'm actually looking at my notes this time. And the first time I tried this combination with this leave-in and the harder hold gel, I had more like ramen noodle looking hair. I had a lot of hold and everything like that, minimal frizz, but very ramen noodle looking hair. And I think that's because I had less water. So the second time that I tried this, I put more water in my hair, made sure it was more wet when I applied products, and I said that I had juicier curl clumps, but I had a little bit more frizz than I had on the first time. So that's just something to keep in mind. Obviously, the more water you have, the more it's going to kind of dilute the products that you put in it. So that makes sense entirely. But it also helps form my curl clumps, and that's very important for my type of hair. So I think I want to go in with more water because I'd rather deal with a little bit more frizz than ramen noodle looking hair necessarily. So while I'm wetting my hair down, I'm going to go over the specs of the hard hold gel with you. So stay tuned. This is Rizos Strong Hold Gel. The 8-ounce retails for $22 and the 2.5-ounce retails for $11. It says achieving long-lasting weightless hold with our Strong Hold Gel, designed to control frizz, enhance definition, and add shine, and provide a flake-free hold. Made with nourishing ingredients for healthier hair, including lactic acid and vegan collagen peptides and a sugarcane extract. The directions say to use after our curl-defining cream for added strong hold. Apply in sections and scrunch curls upward in motion. Dry hair with our diffuser. All right, now I'm scrunching in again, and you should be able to hear the squish of the water throughout my hair. And I just think that's going to bode well for me, better for me than the other way. It's all a preference and whatever you like. If you don't mind that ultra defined ramen noodle type of look, which can be scrunched out to a certain extent, not entirely, I feel like, but to a certain extent it can be. If you prefer that though, that style over like a little bit more frizz, by all means, go in with less water. Less water would be the best choice for you. But if you like juicier curl clumps, which I think a lot of people tend to prefer that, maybe not everyone, like I said, and would rather deal with a little bit more frizz, you know, go in with this. Another option would be to do it like I have, where you're going in with more water, apply this gel, and then microplop and go in with a little bit more product. I've not tried it that way. Should we do it that way this time? I think maybe we'll try it that way, if I can control how much I actually put on in the first application. All right, so we're gonna go in with about that amount. I would say this is somewhere between a dime and nickel sized amount. And just a clear gel. It is thicker. There is definitely some tack. These both have a perfume scent, but to me, the gel smells a lot stronger than the leave-in. The leave-in is very lightweight. I don't really notice it too much. It just kind of blends in. But the gel definitely lingers a bit. I'm just going to kind of lift up my layers here and try to work it in a little bit more. Sometimes I do this upside down, and I might go in after I micro plop and go in upside down. And what am I trying to say? Let me back up. When I'm ready to micro plop, I think I'm going to go do that upside down and then apply the last little dollop of gel upside down. I think that will be how I do things. So you can still hear the squish, which is what I'm wanting this time. We're wanting big juicy curl clumps, as big as we can get with this. So far, I'm seeing a lot of definition, and I'm really happy with that. I am seeing minimal frizz at this point. And so just going to scrunch equally on this other side here. All right, now I'm going to take my t-shirt towel. It's already pretty damp, and I'm just going to kind of gently cup this, give it a little squeeze here. Just trying to get out some of the extra moisture. I think maybe like around the top part of my hair is where it hangs onto the moisture a little bit more than the ends do. I did that around the top, which will end up being the bottom, and I'm going to do it on what's now the underside, but will end up being the top. Okay, I think I've gotten some of that moisture out. Let's go in with a little bit more gel. I'm not remembering how this is going to apply now that I have more of that moisture out. Is it going to drag? Because the first application, like I said, it was a thicker gel, but it was able to glide on pretty well because I had very wet hair. So I'm going in with about a dime-sized amount, and we're just going to test this out. If I need to add more water, I will add some water to my hands. But as of right now, I'm just glazing it over. I'm not coming across any issues here. Just going to try to get some on those inner parts here. Yeah, it's not really sticking to my hair is not sticking to my hands, so I don't need to go in with any more water on my hands, I don't think. So that's nice. If you have a problem with stronger scents, though, you might have a problem with this gel because, like I said, it definitely has a strong perfume scent in my opinion. And while it's okay, it's not my favorite. All right, I'm gonna let this wet plop sit on for about 10-15 minutes. I will diffuse my hair. I'll come back and I'll show you the results. Okay, friends, and so this is what my diffused hair looks like. Let's take a closer look. There's these results on each side and what the underneath looks like as well. And of course, I will show you the back. Sometimes I say that as much to remind myself as to let you guys know what's coming up, because I can get in a hurry sometimes and just kind of skip past showing the back easily. I actually honestly forgot to look at the back of my hair before coming on camera. So I'm going to have to check that out, you know, after this portion and before tomorrow. But anyways, let me fix my lighting here because I'm seeing that lighting has changed. Okay, I hope that's a little bit better, a little bit more even. But what are we thinking of these curls? I'm actually pretty impressed. I mean, I kind of had a pretty good idea that this is probably what I would get. My curls are still on the smaller side. I have good definition throughout my hair on the underside and the top. Very minimal frizz. There's a little bit of halo frizz. That always happens. I'm not really worried about it. I think it looks good. It's functional. It just blends in with the rest of the hairstyle. But I have good definition. I have minimal frizz. I have a decent volume. Like, my hair doesn't feel weighed down or anything. Speaking of the feeling of my hair, I did not get a cast this time. Now, the first time that I had done this, where I went in with drier hair and applied the products, I did get more of a cast that first time. The second time when I went in on more wet hair on the trial before doing this video for you guys, I did not get a cast. And this time I did not get a cast, but I can feel like a hold to my hair, a structure to my hair. So I do feel like it's a soft, a flexible hold, I guess is what I want to say. Yeah, flexible hold. I do have a good amount of shine, I feel like, to my hair, a natural looking shine. And even though I mentioned earlier that my curl clumps are a little bit smaller, I do think that my hair still feels full. Sometimes when I have smaller curl clumps, if they are a very defined curl like they are now, it could kind of make my hair look very thin and everything. even with bigger curl clumps, if my hair is like ultra defined, it can just tend to make my hair look a little bit more thinner, a little bit, or not as full. But that is not the case. I feel like today, I feel like I have plenty of fullness throughout my hair. It doesn't make it look like it's very sparse or anything like that. So I'm happy with that. As far as the moisture of my hair, it feels great at this point. It's not, like I said, it's not heavy, so it doesn't feel weighed down or anything, but yeah, it doesn't feel even remotely close to being dried out. I really do like that. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot by saying, I like that, I like that, I like that. But I think the best test of time is to just give it some time. So we are going to check back in about 24 hours and I will show you what my hair is looking like then. Okay, and just like that, we are back for day 2 results using the 2 Rizos Curls products. I have, well, I'm going to show you the 2 sides here and the underneath. So far, my hair still feels really soft. It has good moisture. I'm surprised that I don't have a feeling of more hold. Like, I mean, I don't have more of like a cast type feeling. I know I said that yesterday. There is a general hold to it overall. Like it's held up pretty good, but you don't feel it necessarily. Okay, let me show you the back before we get into too many details. Okay, so overall, I have pretty good definition still on the underside and on the top. I do have some areas where things have just kind of stretched out, kind of, I guess, worn throughout the day. I do feel like I have a little bit more frizz in these areas, these regions. And I also have, like I said, some areas that are stretched out. Some of these face framing pieces are just a little bit more fragile. And so I feel like the curls can more easily stretch out. I had some I recognized earlier on this side. I don't know where they are. I guess kind of this. Like I just feel like this is a little lackluster, a little limp. But overall, not bad. Areas that I can kind of easily tuck in and just kind of hide away and things like that. The overall general hair, I think, looks really good in the front and the back. And really all this needs is a little hairspray in my opinion. But aside from that, it still looks good. Like I said, my moisture feels good. My hair does not feel weighed down, but it still feels soft and moisturized. I still have good volume, partially because my hair is not weighed down. I have decent bounce to my curls. And I mean, it's not like the most bouncy curls, the most spring or anything like that, but it does have some good bounce. And I just, in general, overall enjoy or appreciate my curl pattern this time. I know the first time I tried this, I mentioned that I had done it on more dry hair, and I mentioned I had that more ramen noodle-like looking hair, and my curl pattern wasn't as tight then, and I made note of that specifically. And in order to change that so I didn't have that effect, I went in with more water the second time. And I had juicier, plump curls, but I also had more frizz. So in order to try to get the best of both worlds, this time I went in with more water, and then I microplopped that out and added a little bit more of the holding product, the gel, afterwards. And this is how my curls turned out. And I think this is actually the best that I've had out of both scenarios. So I appreciate the fact that my curls still look pretty juicy, pretty plump, and not ramen noodle looking. I know I keep referring to that, but I don't know how else better to say it. I just don't care for that style necessarily. But also I still have some control, some frizz management and everything like that. So I can appreciate the fact that going in with that extra product on less wet hair did help. Now I know I said that we were going to be having some heat yesterday, not necessarily humidity. You guys, I don't know what to say about this weather anymore. The forecast changes every day. We were forecasted for sunshine and warmer weather yesterday, and it did not happen. It did not happen. Like the previous day, I started this video on a Wednesday. So on Tuesday, it said, okay, Wednesday, we're going to be in such and such temperatures. It was close to 70, okay? For right now in mid-May, that's good. And then I look at it again on Wednesday, and because I'm like, where's the sunshine? And the sunshine started out in the morning, but then it disappeared. I'm like, okay, where's the sunshine? Where's these warmer temperatures? It barely got to 60. And I was like, okay. Not what I was thinking, not what I was expecting. So I apologize. It was pretty windy, so I was out in that some. And so I guess I did go for a walk out in the wind, and my hair still held up pretty good. So I guess that was the best test I could give it. Not quite what I was expecting, but the best test I could give it. Now, as far as these products individually, what do I think of them? For the Heat Protection Multivitamin Leave-In Conditioner, For some reason, I struggle to say this title appropriately. But for this leave-in, I do think it is a good leave-in, but I do think it is a tad bit more on the heavier side compared to like a spray leave-in. So it's not like the heaviest, like it's not quite like a cream, but it is heavier than just a spray leave-in. So if you are a person who needs something really lightweight, this might not be the thing for you. Or if you're adventuresome like me and still want to try out products, you know, just go in with a very light hand if you know that you can't take much moisture in your routine. But even with 4 pumps and how it built up on my hands, I still didn't feel like it really weighed my hair down, but it does get kind of thick for, it feels like a thicker leave-in conditioner. Part of the thing too, when I went in with 4 pumps, because I marked how much I went in with, and each time I did go in with 4 pumps. I was going to do 3 this time, but then I was like, oh, I feel like I need a little bit more on my ends, which usually isn't characteristic of me. But I thought I would go in with less because I thought, well, maybe the amount that I've been putting on has been causing my hair to be like weighed down with that ramen noodle look, first off, or it's been a little bit, or it's counteracted my gel hold that I had on the second time when I had a little bit more frizz. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think it was more due to my gel application is how those effects were. So like I said, not the lightest weight leave-in. I think it could work for a variety of hair types, but just be careful using it, how much you use. Now for the Strong Hold Gel, as I've said, how you apply it matters. If you apply it with less water, you're going to get one result. If you apply it with more water, you're going to get another result. You could do like I did the 3rd time for this video and just apply it with a lot of water the first time and then microplop some of that out and then go in with a little extra as a final coating. That's personally what I would recommend, because either way, I don't think if you apply enough water with this I don't think will give you much of a cast, if any. At least I haven't experienced that. When I've applied this with more water, I don't get a cast. And the one time that I did get a cast, it wasn't that significant of a cast, and I was a little bit more surprised. For some reason, I thought I had heard that this was a more drying gel, and I personally have not had that experience. I applied this kind of in the cooler months. I applied it in March, and then I also worked with it here in May, and I haven't experienced any drying necessarily, no matter how I applied it. So I don't know if I just heard wrong or if it maybe affects different hair types differently. I'm not 100% sure. But if you're a person who likes a softer hair finish, I really don't think you have to be afraid of this necessarily. Even though it says a strong hold, you don't get that strong hold feel just to touch your hair, in my opinion. So that's something to consider, something to think about if you would like to try it. You can always try these travel sizes. That's why I buy them a lot of times, also to try to control my product stash. But also, if you don't like a product, then you're not out all that money and have to figure out how you have to use that product or just waste it entirely. So that is my recommendations in that regard. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments down below. Have you guys tried these products out? Because they have been out for a while. I know they have. Let me know what you think of them. And if you'd like to see the Rizos newer custard as a one and done styler as part of that series, let me know in the comments down below, because I would definitely be interested in sharing that as well. But overall, like I said, let me know if you guys have tried these products, what you think of them, if you're interested in trying them or not. And until I see you again in the next video, have a great day. Bye.